my name is Connor Kelly. I'm a 6th grader, and we made this board game called Quis Necat, which in Latin translates to Who Kills? The purpose of making this game is to teach people some concepts of ancient Rome, such as weapons, places, and people. Pompeius has been murdered. The objective of this game is to figure out who murdered him, where did they murder him, and what did they use to murder him. Let's talk about the ages, how many people can play, and what you need to play. 3 to 6 players can play, ages 7 and above. What you need to have is pegs, die, a board, and an envelope. And you need cards to represent all of your suspects, weapons, and places. You also need these sheets, which record what you know. Okay, so here are the possible locations that Pompeius could have been murdered. There is the Mercatus Triani, the Forum, the Pantheon, the Circus Maximus, the Domus Aurea, the Colosseum, and the Ferme Antoniniane, and the Via Appia, and then there's also Ostia. These locations can be represented by cards. Here is Ostia, the Pantheon, and the Circus Maximus, and etc. Let's talk about suspects. Here is Marcus Antonius, which in English is Mark Antony, Julius Caesar, Crassus, Cleopatra, Augustus, Nero. Let's talk about weapons that could have killed Pompeius. Here is the gladius, which is a sword. Then we have asp. Now you might think that this is not a weapon, but you can ask Cleopatra how she died. Then we have the pilum, which is a javelin. Then we have the pugio, which is a dagger. Then we have poison. Then we have melted gold. Now you might not think this is a weapon too, but you can ask Crassus how he died. So for the setup, each player will pick a peg and put it in its corresponding area, such as yellow will go in the yellow area. And you'll have each of your cards divided into 3 categories: places, people, and weapons. For the weapons, people, and places, you'll put them upside down so you don't see the cards. Shuffle each one. And you'll randomly pick one from each pile and put it in the envelope. Now the rest of the cards you'll put in one stack, shuffle them. I'm being very bad. And you'll deal them to whoever's playing. The winner is the first person to guess the 3 cards that are in this envelope. To do that, you'll do process of elimination. The first thing you're going to want to do is look at your cards, and you will not show other people your cards, and you'll start marking it off on your sheet of paper. Once you marked off all of your cards, you'll continue with the next part of the game. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take 2 dice. I got an 8, so I get to move 8 spaces. And I made it to the Pantheon. Once you make it into a place, you get to suggest. You get to suggest a suspect, a weapon, and the place that you are at. You can't pick any other places because that would not make sense. So let's say I suggest that it is Augustus with the asp in the Pantheon. And now the person to my right is going to try to disprove me by showing them if they have one of the cards that I suggested. And you have to do it secretly. So that player gave me Augustus. So I can cross that out on my sheet. And then I give it back without showing the other person what the card was. And I mark it off, and then the next player goes. But if that player does not have anything that can disprove what I said, then that player will try to disprove me by showing me a card. They will show me the card that I suggested, and I will mark it off on my board without showing the other person. Okay, players will continue rolling and enter new places and suggest players, locations, and weapons. And of course the location is the same. Please note that there are also passageways between the Pantheon and the Terme Antonile and the Mercatus Triani to the Domus Aurea. And note that you cannot roll a dice to go to the passageway. You only do it when you're in one of the areas. And let's say you suggest and nobody is able to disprove you. Then you are able to make an accusation. An accusation is where you say what you believe it is, and then you'll secretly check the envelope without showing anyone else. And I believe it's Caesar with a Pugio in the Circus Maximus. And I will check. It's the Circus Maximus, Julius Caesar, and the Pugio. So then I'll put those out, and I have one. But if I didn't get it right, I would be out. But I would still have to show people cards to disprove them if they ask. And if you're wrong, you will not put them in the middle, and you'll just keep it in the envelope and put it back. I hope you enjoyed this game, and I hope you learned a lot about the places, people, and weapons used in ancient Rome.